Keith couldn't sleep. He always had a problem sleeping when he was anxious, and without the distraction of land close at hand, his nerves about the race were starting to seep through the cracks. It had been a day since he'd seen Lance, but that day had been dragged on. His thoughts were bittersweet. He both reveled in his memories of the boy, but with each passing minute he seemed to slip further away, like a dream that would soon fade to distant memory. Conjuring his face, his mind's eye brought it with it a fluttering in his stomach and clenching of his chest. It was plain and simple and a mess. The thoughts of Lance swirled together with his anxiousness of the race, mingling with his apprehension of going home to an empty apartment for the first time, like it was a cacophony of emotions, good and bad, mixing and meshing and keeping his mind racing long into the night. His brain wouldn't settle, keeping his body awake. When he finally did manage to sleep, it was fitful and restless. He woke in the early hours of the morning and laid awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling and groaning in frustration. Normally, in circumstances like this, he would go for a run, but he wasn't allowed to run. Not while he was on strict pre-race taper. Still, he felt restless lying in bed, his skin itching and crawling with the need to get out, to move. He threw his blanket back and got dressed, grabbing his hoodie to ward off the early morning chill. No point in sleeping in too long. He had to get up early on race morning anyway. He wandered the pre-dawn darkness, feeling the odd stillness of the world comforting. He crossed the street, walking along the sidewalk along the long expanse of the lake's side, eventually finding a bench. The breeze was gentle, running up soft on the waves like land surface. It looked peaceful enough now, but he knew that on race day, when it was filled with bodies and he was up close and personal with the waves, it would be a different story. It always was. He had gotten over his fear of the water, but that didn't mean he was at ease. His thoughts once again drifted back to Lance. Lance would be at ease in the water. He had seen Lance swim. It was the man that was built for the water. One hand lifted, and he didn't realize what he was doing until his fingers were pressing against the front of his hoodie, pushing the pendant beneath against his sternum. He felt foolish. He told Cheryl and Laura that the necklace was for him when he bought it. He knew it wasn't. He had been planning on buying anything at one of the many jade shops in town, but while he was waiting for them to look around, he had seen it, and just impulse. His heart had pounded at the thought of it, an exciting fluttering filling his chest. But now he just felt stupid. Didn't know what he was thinking. Lance probably. Lance and his stupid smile. Lance and his stupid blue eyes. Lance and his easy laugh. Lance and the way he put Keith at ease. Lance and the way he made Keith feel better about nearly everything after doing absolutely nothing to pry open his thoughts. Lance and his Keith? Keith jumped, twisting around in the seat. Lance? It was him, all right. He stood on the sidewalk, dressed for a run, breathing heavily and skin glistening with a thin sheen of sweat. Keith gaped at him. He ran his hands through his hair, making it stick up on end as he straightened it, a bright grin taking over his face. It is you! I knew that mullet anywhere. Keith scowled, reaching up a hand to self-consciously tug on the few strands of hair. Lance laughed, walked across the grass to his bench, and playfully slapping his hand away. Don't worry about it. I like it. It's good for fooling. He winked, and Keith felt like his face was on fire. He looked away, eyes drifting toward the lake. Sunrise was close, the horizon lightening and casting the sun's first rays out across the waters. The world was still in that odd stage where it's brightening to a new day, but a peaceful calm of night still remains, where most people are asleep and only the birds are there to fill the sounds, where it feels like you can be in a space between time, where nothing could touch you because the realities of the day hadn't yet set in. He had always liked having these moments to himself, to think and exist without the pressure of life pushing him, getting under his skin. But as Lance threw himself down onto the bench next to him, he found that for once, he didn't mind the company. Not one bit. Fancy meeting you here, he said, stretching out his legs and propping his elbows on the back of the bench. His lips were curved to an easy smile. One Keith found himself returning. could say the same for you. And despite the fact that they hadn't known each other for long, despite the fact that they had slept together, despite the fact that he hadn't seen him in an entire day, nothing felt awkward. He was starting to wonder if he was even capable of feeling awkward around Lance. Nervous? Oddly giddy? Anxious in an almost positive way? Yes, but not awkward. "What are you doing here at this hour?" he asked. Lance shrugged. "I usually go for runs in the morning. It's peaceful, you know." Keith hummed his agreement. "Then I usually go back and shower before meeting Hunk for coffee before work." Keith nodded. "I really like coming out early. The lake is usually really calm and peaceful before all the boats go out. It's beautiful." "Yeah, it is." They lapsed into a silence that was comfortable. The lake's waters weren't as mirror calm as they had been the first couple of days he had been here. There was a breeze that whipped up small, playful waves. As Keith watched them bounce the buoys, he thought back to hearing them lap against the side of the boat in the darkness, surrounded by stars and the warmth of the boy that set his chest on fire. "What about you? Hmm? Why are you here?" Keith shrugged, slouching a little lower on the bench, hands shoving deep into his hoodie pockets. "Couldn't sleep." He didn't look at Lance, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw the way his head tilted, saw the makings of a kind smile. When he spoke, his voice was soft in sympathy. "Still nervous?" Keith shrugged again. It wasn't 100% why he couldn't sleep, but he didn't really want to admit the other parts. The parts about Cheryl, about home, the parts about Lance's help. So he just replied with a simple but reluctant, "Maybe." "Oh, that reminds me." He was moving them, sitting up straight and reaching beneath his shirt. He eyed him sideways, curious, as he watched Lance grab a black cord around his neck and pull it over his head, holding it out. The green of the jade shone in the early morning light, dangling innocently between them. "Got this for you." Keith's eyebrows went up at that, eyes widened. Shock? It had to have been. His heart tripped over itself, speeding up into double time and brushing the inside of his ribs. His breath was coming short, thick in his lungs. He blinked, mouth working but no sounds coming out. Lance was grinning at him, so bright and open and innocent, and so very honest. "What?" Not the most eloquent thing to say, but it was what came out. Lance's mouth faltered, shrinking to something more shy, uncertain. "They're, like symbols of New Zealand. See, they're made from hunamo, which is a type of jade from here that has roots deep in Maori culture. And now they make these necklaces in these specific shapes. Some of them inspired from actual Maori symbols. It's kind of big, touristy thing now, but like, it's pretty cool." He scratched the back of his neck, eyes suddenly unable to focus on Keith's face. They flickered everywhere, not staying in one spot for more than a couple seconds. "This one is the Hermatau, or the fishhook. It's supposed to give the wearer strength, good luck, and save travels across water." His smile widened a fraction, before faltering once again. "Because I know you were nervous about the swim." He couldn't do anything besides stare. He wasn't even sure he was breathing. It certainly wasn't something he was thinking about. His thoughts weren't in the form of words. They were just a baseline buzzing, loud and consistent, and could be misconstrued as a scream. He felt lightheaded. He licked his lips, voice uncertain in his attempt to keep it from shaking. He was proud when it came out a lot calmer than what he was feeling. "You bought this for me?" Lance's smile remained fixed in place, but it was strained, not quite meeting his eyes. He fidgeted, base hand tapping restlessly at his leg, feet tapping the ground, the hand holding the necklace lowered a fraction. Yeah," he laughed, the sound nervous and strained. "I thought you could use it. Good luck, you know." "And you were just carrying it around?" More fidgeting, eyes flicking away, unable to look at him. The necklace lowered a little more. "Well, I wasn't sure when I see you again, so I just started wearing it around in case I ran into you." It looked like I did, so good plan? Me? Keith didn't answer. He couldn't think, he didn't think he could. He felt like his brain had stopped working. Short circuit and fizzled out. His mind was left drifting in the void, unable to fully grasp what was happening. He didn't notice, however, when Lance's mouth fell altogether. Sorry if this is weird. It's probably weird, right? We don't know each other very well. I just thought it doesn't matter. His words sped up with each one, faster and faster, rambling quicker than Keith could really keep up. I should have known this would be weird. Sorry. I don't even know if you were able to wear it on race day. The hand with the necklace started to pull back. It's okay if you don't want it. I can't. No. Keith's hand shot out, snatching the necklace from him. Lance gave it him, eyebrows rising toward his hairline. His face was carefully blank. Keith felt heat rising to his cheeks. He looked down at the pendant in his hands, fingers fervently running over the smooth surface. He cleared his throat. I mean, I want it. Thank you. Lance scratched the back of his neck, glancing away. Keith didn't look at him, but he heard the small smile in his voice. Yeah, no problem, dude. Taking a deep breath, Keith reached up and pulled the black cord around his neck over his head, holding out toward Lance. Couldn't look at him, just held out in the cavernous space between them. His mouth felt so dry. He cleared his throat, straining as he pushed on with as much calm confidence as he could muster. I got you something too. Silence. The necklace felt like dead weight where it dangled from Keith's hand. It's, the spiral one. The signs at the jade place it said it was supposed to present harmony or something. Like balance and peace. And I just thought of you out here, trying to figure stuff out or whatever. I just, yeah. He ducked his head, thumb of his other hand rubbing over the fish hook pendant in his hand, staring at the jade like its green depths might swallow him whole and save him from this embarrassment. Careful fingers slowly, gingerly took the offered necklace from him, fingertips brushing over his own. After a moment, Keith cast a weary glance sideways. The necklace was around Lance's neck. The fingers reverently turned the spiral pendant around and around, brushing its smooth surface as if it might break, but like he was unable to stop. The look on his face was soft, lips upturned, eyes half-lidded, so relaxed. Keith had to look away, head lodging in his throat as a fluttering giddiness. He flipped his stomach over. His lungs were looking at a half capacity. Thank you, he muttered. Keith nodded stiffly. They sat in a silence that was strained, but not uncomfortable. Heartbeats slowing to normal paces as they watched the sunrise over the lake, as the world came to life around them, as cars started moving on the street and voices filled the air, muted and wordless, as birds heralded in the light and boats took to the lake. Still, they sat, existing in their own small pocket of space, just the two of them, unable to be touched by anything and anyone. The fish hook pendant was a comforting weight against his sternum, the residual warmth from Lance's chest seeping to his own. Time ticked by, but they didn't say anything, afraid to break whatever was building between them. And if they leaned a little closer until their shoulders brushed, neither of them said anything.